is Lupe, and you may notice throughout the video that my English is not like others, and that's because I'm not from the States. I'm a Latina who just likes to do makeup, and I created my YouTube channel because I wanted to give back something to the beauty community, because I actually learned how to do makeup on YouTube, and maybe bring some joy in this harsh time us humans are living. Because actually the other day I was planning my Lollapalooza outfit, and I'm not kidding, the exact next day they canceled the event. Well, they didn't actually cancel it, they just postponed it, but whatever, it is not happening this month. So that's because of coronavirus, and coronavirus is really making us her bitch. And I'm not gonna let it, I'm not. So I created this extra glam festival makeup look. Drink every time I said makeup in this intro. If you want to see how to recreate this makeup look, then please just keep on watching. First thing, I'm going to start with primer, because even though we are going to do our eyes first, I wanted to let it set on my skin. And I'm going to use the Professional Pearl Primer. I think you know the one. This is great. It seriously makes your pores disappear, and it doesn't make it that matte because of the pearl effect. But I just use that much, and I'm going to use my ring finger. I'm going to apply it on my nose, down here, down my eyes. That's where I have the biggest pores. And first put it here, and then blend it out to some parts of my face that may need primer as well. So now moving on to our eyes, I'm going to prime it using concealer. This is the NYX HD Studio Photogenic. Looks like this in the shade CW05. I'm just going to apply a little bit on my crease. A little bit. And then just blend it out with a beauty blender. I'm using I think it is the Jeffree Star Morphe collection. It is very good, and it is this big because I like to run it through water so that it is a bit moist and damp, so it doesn't absorb all of the product. Okay, and once that's done, you can set it with setting powder if you want, but if you want to go for a more extravagant makeup look to really make your eyeshadows pop, I recommend that you don't set them, but be careful when applying the eyeshadow and how you blend them. For eyeshadow, I'm going to go with one of my favorites. Sorry, it is so dirty. The Modern Renaissance by Anastasia Beverly Hills. It is just a classic, and it is so good. And I'm first going to go with a tapered brush and dip on the shade Raw Sienna and blend that into my crease. Once that's done, I'm going to go with a lighter dark shade with the same blending brush, but this is from the James Charles and Morphe collection, and I don't know the name, sorry, but it is that shade on the top end. I'm going to apply a little bit lower than the eyeshadow I applied before, and also trying to bring it closer to the actual lid so that then it blends out with the darkest shade. Now to further blend, take a tapered blending brush that's clean, it looks like this, and dip back on Raw Sienna and further blend everything. See how I like to blend it up into my eyebrows like that, so it is more visible when you have your eyes open. Now for the dark part of the lid, I'm going to take a flat shader brush that looks like this and take Cypress Umber from the Modern Renaissance palette. Remember to wipe off the excess and apply it very low in the lid in tapping motions and then we'll blend it back with another brush. But first do this and pack it until it is very nice and dark. Don't worry about the blending right now, but try to keep it as slow as possible. Now it's time to blend it back with the previous eyeshadow, and I'm just going to take the tapered brush I used before and dip it in the James Charles eyeshadow palette and blend it with the dark color, but I'm going to place it like this, flat on the lid.
Very slow tapping motions.
Then we're going to turn it back up and blend it with the lightest color. That is it for eyeshadow for now. Now we're going to move on to do an eyeliner. You can do a cat eye, but I'm just going to line my top lash line so that it blends well with lashes. Warning, I don't wear false lashes. I don't really like wearing them, but you can do it as well. And if you are going to wear false lashes, you should definitely do this step. I'm going to use the Kat Von D ink liner. I've tried many liners, but this is the best one ever. It is so easy to use, although if you're a beginner with eyeliner, I recommend that you use gel, because I find marker ones a bit more difficult to use and you have to have a more steady pulse for that, but it's up to you. Now that eyeliner is done, we're going to move on to the face. And the reason why I started with my eyes is because I'm doing, as you see, a brown smoky eye, and it may have fallout, so you don't want it to ruin what you've already done. And luckily this time it didn't have any fallout, but just in case, you should do your eyes first. And for foundation, I'm going to mix two. I'm using the Maybelline Fit Me foundation in 235. I'm going to use just a little pump of that and mix it with the MAC Pro Longwear foundation in the shade NW22. Because it is more orangey, more peachy, and just blend it out with my fingers and put some on my face, especially here because that's where I have more acne. And I am going to do my face first, but I'm not going to use all the product I have on my face, because then you have to mix it with your neck. Because then you have to fix it with your neck. So this is the combination we're going to use. And again, I'm going to use the Jeffree Star Morphe sponge. I'm going to dip some more and then use the flat side to blend it here, and down the eyes I'm going to use this side. Really just take your time with foundation. That's what makes the difference in makeup. No matter what part of the face you're doing, blending is key. So really take your time and not drag it around, because there will be no product to use. Remember to do the outlines of your face. Oh, and that's also why I don't like doing my brows first, because this way I can blend foundation really nicely with no interruptions, so I don't have to be all careful around my brows. But you can do them first. There are no rules, that's just the way I do it. Now to blend the foundation down to my neck, I'm going to use a flat brush. This is not actually a flat brush. I don't know how to call it, but it looks like this. Moving on to concealer, I'm going to use the same one I used to prime my eyes, the one from NYX. I'm going to apply it under my eyes, down the bridge of my nose, a little bit on my forehead, and a little bit here on my chin. And I like to take it up to here down my nose, because it also counts as nose contour. I have pretty bad under eyes, but School started 2 weeks ago, so it is no surprise I have been not sleeping well. And to blend that out, I'm going to use the pointier side of the beauty blender of the sponge. And a trick I learned from the Queen Nikki tutorials is that when you're doing your concealer, put your face down like this, and when you blend it here, look that way, and when you blend it on the outside, look that way. I don't know if it is because it stretches the skin better, but it just works out, so you should try it. To set the concealer, I'm going to use the Rimmel Stay Matte Powder. It is so used, look at that. You can even read what it says. And I'm going to use the smaller sponge that came with the Jeffree Star Morphe collection. And I'm applying a lot. It's not actually baking, but it's kind of like that. You want your makeup to stay put throughout the entire festival, even though I said we're not having a festival, at least not soon, but whatever. If you have a more oily skin, I recommend that you set your entire face with powder. However, I have a very dry one, so if I fill it with powder, it just doesn't look good. So I just put powder whatever I put the concealer. And now moving on to contour. Why did it do that? Contour. I'm going to use a palette. This is the Highlight and Contour. This is by The Balm. And I'm going to use a rather interesting brush, you may say. This is from Sephora. This is a kabuki brush, but then you open it and it is flat. It is perfect for contouring because you can keep it like that and then it really hugs your cheekbones. So I'm going to use the lighter shade, which is a cold shade. You want to look for a cool undertone actually, because that's what makes it more natural. And lastly, on the nose. Then I'm switching to a larger brush and I'm going to apply bronzer in every place that I applied contour before, but this time a little bit higher and a bit more intense. I'm going to use that same palette, but this time the bronzier shade next to the blush. For blush, I'm actually going to use an eyeshadow. This is a risky move because eyeshadows tend to be a lot more pigmented. But I don't have a blush that it is this tone and I want to use this tone, so I'm gonna use it. It is actually from the James Charles and Morphe palette, and it is this big one in the middle, the orange. And I'm going to use a blush brush. Be careful, just a little bit on the brush, tap it out, and then smile. Apply it on your cheekbones, blend it upwards. Moving back to the eyes, I'm going to use a flat blending brush that looks like this, and I'm going to use first the lightest shade that we used before, that was Raw Sienna from the Modern Renaissance palette, and I'm going to apply it on my lower lash line, blending it as low as possible so that then I can pile up the other shades and they will all show up. To apply the darkest shade, I'm going to use a flat angular brush, and I'm going to use Cypress Umber from the Anastasia Beverly Hills palette, and I'm just going to apply it on the outer corner just a little bit to kind of connect it with the upside, and also very close to the lash line. Then back to the flat blending brush, I'm going to use the shade from the James Charles palette that we used in between the lighter and the darkest, and apply it in the middle, connecting the darkest again with the lighter shade. Finally, once again with a tapered blending brush, I'm going to go back to Raw Sienna and blend everything once again. I'm going to do my brows now off camera, but for that I'm going to use the NYX Micro Brow Pencil in Espresso. It is a double-ended product. and it is really good. I love it and I really recommend it. So I'm back, and I also use the NYX Control Freak. It is an eyebrow gel to set my eyebrows in place. I love this. It is a lifesaver. To finish off the eyes, I'm going to do mascara, and like I said, I don't really like wearing false lashes, so I like to use an eyelash curler and really use the heck out of it so that my natural lashes can be as big as possible. And I'm also going to do that off camera. As for mascara, I'm going to use the Last Sensational by Maybelline. We're almost done. To spice this up a little bit, I'm going to use some rhinestones and stick them randomly around my eyes. They kind of have glue in them, but to reinforce that, I'm going to use false lashes glue. I'm going to use a small brush to apply the glue. I'm going to do one here in the middle. And one here. And one in the middle, actually in the inner corner. You can add more if you want, of course, as extra as you like. Festivals are the opportunity to do so, or even now. This is what cheers me up in this terrible time humans are going through. So do as you please. As always, you should always do as you please. So I decided to apply 2 more at the top of my brow arch. But like I said, you can put how many you want. Now we're moving on to lips, and I'm just going to go for a nude tone because that's a lot. I'm going to use the NYX Lingerie in the shade Push Up. On top of that, I'm going to apply a lip gloss. This is from Kiko. This 3D Hydra lip gloss in the shade, I think it is the shade 4. Now last but definitely not least, you should always apply this. It will be your savior for these events. It is makeup setting spray. I'm going to use the Urban Decay All Nighter. Alright guys, this is the final look. I hope you liked it.
Oh my god.
I almost forgot highlighter. I don't know how that happened. I love highlighter. It is my favorite step. I even set my face. God, no. I want highlighter. I'm not going to forget that. Again, I'm sorry. I can't believe it, seriously. I love highlighter and I somehow forgot about it, but whatever. I'm going to use a fan brush, and I'm going to use a Kiko eyeshadow actually, but it is beautiful. It is in the shade 208. Looks like that. How I will not use it as a highlighter. I'm going to apply in the high points of my cheeks. I should have done this before I applied the gemstones. Fuck. And of course I'm going to apply a lot because that's me. And then I use again my ring finger to apply it on the tip of my nose. And then on the bridge, kind of like making an exclamation point. Now we are done. Alright guys, so this is the final look. I can't believe I almost forgot highlighter, but I hope you liked it. I hope you had a great time. Please stay safe, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And I'm planning on uploading a video each week, so subscribe and stay tuned. Bye!